So it goes without saying that counting calories is one of the most effective ways to lose body fat. But for a lot of people, it can make an already hard process impossible. It can be quite a daunting task to have to track and measure and count all your meals. So today, I'm going to cover my top 5 ways of losing body fat without counting calories. Cutting liquid calories. As a personal trainer, all too often, I have seen people say that they're eating their healthiest, that they are absolutely on point with their diet, they're only eating salads, they're only doing this, they're doing it all perfect, and then I'll go and I'll see in their story, their Instagram story, that they have just went to Starbucks to get the latest large pumpkin spice drink with the extra whip and the cream and the syrup. Or I'll see them out at a restaurant and they'll be drinking full sugar Coke. These are small adjustments that you can make. The problem with liquid calories and consuming them is that oftentimes things like that can have the same calories as a meal. But the problem is it's a liquid. So your body just registers it in terms of satiety in the same way as it would something like a glass of water. So you're consuming essentially an extra meal a day without any of the hunger dissipation benefits. By only consuming liquids that don't have calories in them, you can make a massive dent in your daily caloric intake without having to track. This can just be as simple as maybe only taking your coffee black, only drinking water, only having green tea instead of these highly sugar, highly processed drinks. This doesn't mean that you can't have fun drinks as well. For instance, making a small switch in your fancy coffee, rather than getting the full sugar syrup and full fat milk and whipped cream, maybe try something like an almond milk latte with sugar-free vanilla. What you've got there is a very low calorie milk and a low calorie syrup. So you can get some of that taste without necessarily having to have the caloric impact. Step count. A lot of people sleep on this idea. Step count is one of the best ways that you can actually lose body fat. For instance, if you're clocking up 5,000 steps a day and you make sure that you get it up to 10,000, that additional 5,000 steps is going to make a significant impact on your fat loss. This is because you're burning extra calories when you're doing this, but it's not very high impact. It's not like something like running a 10k or a 5k or anything like that, or going to the gym and doing a workout, but it does burn a lot of calories. Just by adding maybe that extra 5,000 steps, you're adding a deficit of 150 calories that you don't have to think about. You don't have to think about it. It's just as simple as maybe taking an evening walk or walking to the supermarket instead of driving there. It can be a small change. It doesn't make a big impact on your life. It doesn't feel like you're giving something up or that you're making a massive impact on your lifestyle, but it does add up when it comes to that weight loss at the end of the day. You put yourself in a calorie deficit for not much cost to your personal life. Picking the healthy option and thinking that that's going to give you the weight loss. A lot of people will go on a diet and they will always pick the healthiest option. And a lot of times that can manifest that the first thing they do is they wake up and they make a shake, blending together 5 or 6 different fruits that they could have eaten and got the benefit from in satiety, much like we spoke about with the liquid calories. But also this goes into things like maybe getting up and having, avocado toast, or, putting coconut oil in your coffee, or doing all these kind of mad things, eating nuts as a snack, eating seeds. These things are extremely healthy, they're extremely nutritious, but they're also very high in calories. A lot of the items that I've just listed are very high in fats, and fats actually carry the most calories per gram out of all the macronutrients. So if you want to lose weight, sometimes picking, you know, the nut butters and the olive oil roasted vegetables and the Caesar salads and all that seem like the healthy choice. But more often than not, these can actually be packed with high calorie foods. So it's best to learn to avoid oils, avoid, you know, the seeds and the nuts, avoid high calorie food items like avocados if you don't want to have to balance tracking your calories. These food items can be consumed in moderation, of course. They are obviously very healthy for you. But if you don't really want to have to think about your diet, they just add an extra layer of complexity that you really shouldn't want to have to manage. And number 4, we have got meal structure. Now, this one is actually, I think, my most impactful tip. It's not talked about very often, but I think that by having this easy to navigate way of thinking about meals, you'll probably never have to track calories again, unless you have something that's a very specific weight goal, or you're going to go compete in bodybuilding or a sport that requires you to drop a certain amount of weight. What this is a system that I've really just kind of coined as 1 carb, 1 protein, and veg. With the veg, you can have as much veg as you like, as long as you pick the right type. I'm talking broccoli, cauliflower. We're not talking potatoes and avocado here. This can get you off to a really good start on your weight loss journey without having to put calories into your mind. Take, for instance, a beloved classic by bodybuilders, chicken, rice, and broccoli. What you've got there, protein, carb, and vegetable. For instance, you can even have something like chicken fajitas. You know, you've got your chicken, your bell pepper, and your tortilla. You know, even if you go out to a restaurant, you have a bad day, whatever, and you have to have a burger from McDonald's. If you have just the burger, that's the bun, that's the protein with the beef, and you've got some salad on it. The problem comes is when people divert from this system usually. Either they'll have something like a big cheese pizza, where they've got the fat from the cheese, they've got the carb from the crust, and they've got no protein, and usually no veg. Or, for instance, they have a bad day, they have to go to McDonald's, they don't have time to cook, so they go, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to get the burger, which is fine, which is, you know, in our system, carb, protein, vegetable. But then they go and ruin it by going, let's have another carb, let's have the fries on the side. Let's also, you know what, we're going to get some cheese dip. You know what else we're going to get? We're going to get a milkshake. That's another source of fat. They end up stacking these food items. If you stick to just the bare essentials, the protein, the carb, and the vegetable, and that's your meal structure, you'll be off to a flying start. You most definitely will go into a calorie deficit, and you'll not have to think all that much if you just structure all your meals like that. It is the absolute easiest way to lose weight without the complexity of counting calories. Finally, coming up, we have got number 5, and number 5 is a great one. I think it's often people's problem, and I think if you get out of this mindset, you can absolutely lose body fat without having to count calories. And what that is a problem that has, I think, persisted just in the culture in general, and that is clearing your plate. If you have food put in front of you, let's say by a parent, most likely you have been told that you got to eat it all, you got to clear the plate, and you have to finish it. There's kids starving in Africa, you got to eat all that, you can't waste the food. This has probably been one of the biggest things that has impacted obesity and just the general prevalence of people being overweight in our society. What this does is it forces you to actually eat past the point of hunger and eat till you're finished, not eating when you're done. Being satisfied is not when you have to unbuckle your trousers because you're so bloated that you feel like you're going to burst. Being satisfied when it comes to eating is when hunger subsides. So when you're eating next time, if you try this out, don't eat to that point of clearing your plate. Maybe if you are that hungry, do clear your plate, but don't keep going for the sake of completion. If you stop feeling hungry, just leave it. Now this might be a really hard thing for a lot of people to do, and we've been scolded and conditioned our whole lives to do this, but leave it. It might offend who you're with, but it's better for that food, probably in this case, to go to the side. It's better to look after yourself and listen to your body and listen to your hunger cues rather than worry about offending other people. Now, the easiest way around this is you don't have to waste it. You don't have to bin it. If you're in a restaurant and you order too much, ask them to box it up. If you're at home and you've made too much food, you don't have to eat it all. You can put it away as leftovers, and then great, you've got a lunch for tomorrow. That way of thinking, that mindset, is going to significantly transform your weight loss journey. All too often I know people that feel the pressure of they have to eat all of their mum's cooking. They have to eat everything they ordered at the restaurant. Just by allowing yourself to take leftovers and listen to your hunger cues, only eat when you're hungry, that will make the biggest difference to your weight loss. And you can do all that and you can get rid of all those calories without having to track them. You can encourage that fat loss without the headache. So that was my 5 ways of losing fat without having to count calories. Now, please let me know in the comments down below if you found any of these helpful, or if there's something that you think I've missed. If you've got some tips of your own, feel free to put them down in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please like the video and subscribe and hit the bell notification so you can get updated when the next one of these comes out.